Godot 4.1 has reached the release candidate after 4 months of work. This version is full of amazing features you will love. So today I will be showing you all the main new stuff in this version. The last feature is the best one, so stay until the end to discover it. And now let's start. So the first feature is make floating windows. So if we go to any window in our editor and we click on these 3 dots, we can click on this button that says make floating. So if we click it, we can see that this converts in a floating window. What can we do with this floating window? This floating window is super useful if we have 2 displays or even more, because we can drag and drop it in another display and we will have a lot of more space and organization. Also, another important thing is that, for example, I will move the window here and I will open here the Godot editor. I'm gonna make this a little bit smaller. Maybe you will have it like this, okay? And the thing here is that, let's say that you don't want to see this window here anymore, so we can close it, and as you can see, it comes back to its original position. We can make literally any window floating. So for example, we can make floating the scene window. You can see here in these 3 dots, make floating, and we have here our scene window, and we can move it wherever we want. One of the most useful windows you can make floating is the script or the code editor window. We have here the icon. So here, for example, I'm gonna really quickly create a new script right here. So we can make this window now floating, and I can edit and I can directly edit the code in another display. And again, whenever I want to restore the position, I can just close this window, and there I have my window in the original position. The next feature I'm gonna be talking about is the tags system. This tag system, you can see here, this manage tags button is super useful when it comes to ordering and sorting our projects. You may have a very long list of projects, and well, sometimes you would like to organize them, or in a way just to show the projects that you're interested in. So this tag system is super useful in order to do that. Why? Because, for example, here I have already created some tags, for example here prototype, beta 2, etc. So for example, when I click this prototype tag, you see that I only see the projects that are tagged with this tag. Or well, for example, if I click here completed project, I only see the projects with this tag. Or for example, I'm gonna click this for example in progress, and I only see the project that have this tag. In order to add a new tag, firstly you're gonna select the project and then manage tags. So here you have all the tags that you have created. To add one, you just gonna click on this icon and you are gonna to give it a name. So for example, let's give it a name, for example stable. All these names must be lowercase when you create them. So for example, if I write stable like this, you can see tag name must be lowercase, so I should write it like this. And now I have my new tag. And again, you can add any kind of tag you want to a same project. Something a bit bad about this feature is that when you create a new tag, you can't delete it. I mean, of course you can remove it from a project by just clicking at it, as here it says the instruction. But for example, let's say that I have created a tag that says, for example, project 1, okay? And I don't longer want to have this project 1 tag here because I'm not gonna use it anymore. Well, I can't like delete it because, for example, I try to right click it, press the delete key, and anything happens to this tag. So that's something very weird and something that should obviously be fixed. Now we can create static variables. This feature is very important because until now you need to use a resource or an autoload to share data between multiple instances of the same script. but you can now create and use static variables instead. Static variables store data on the class instead of each instance, so they are shared between every instance of the class. And to make a variable static, you just have to add the static keyword before the var keyword. So I've created a very basic example so that we can understand how this works. So firstly, I have a scene that just a sprite with the check texture, and also has a script which basically has this static variable of total icons count, which is initialized as 0 on the ready, which means that as soon as we start playing our game, we're gonna increase by 1 our total icons count. And then in our process, if we are pressing the key space, we're gonna print our total icons count. Then we also have a main scene which just has a route to the node scene and some instances of this scene. So according to the documentation, what should happen is that as we have here a static variable which is shared between all these instances, is that for each icon that we have here instantiated, our variable total icons count should increase by 1, because on our ready we are adding 1 to the variable. Well, I believe this is very easy to understand, so you shouldn't have much problem with it. But if not, let's quickly play it and let's check it. So remember, on our main scene, that's actually our main scene selected on the project settings, so that means that when we start playing, this will be the first scene that we run. We have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 icons. So remember that when the game starts, we are adding 1 to this variable for each icon we have instantiated. This means that when we press the key space, we should have printed a 6, because this 6 should be the value of the total icons count variable. So let's try it. Let's click play. We have here our 6 icons. I'm receiving here a warning because it's of the process delta, I believe. Yeah, but coming back here, I'm gonna press here the space, okay, and I should have here in my output the number 6. Yeah, but well, for example, if we have here in our main scene, I don't know, 3 icons instead of 6 icons, you're gonna see that we're gonna have a 3 here printed. Or well, if on the other hand we have like, maybe, I don't know, we have here like 12 icons, you're gonna see that the number 12 is being printed here. Of course, this is a very basic example, and probably you're not gonna be having a lot of icons in your project as a game. I mean, this is just an example to understand how these static variables now work. Something that I have tried is to access these static variables from other script, because for example in other programming languages such as C#, if you have a static variable, you can access it with no reference from other script, because for example I have here my main script which is from this main node, and if for example here in my ready function I try to access this total icons count variable, you can see here that I have no option. Or if I try like maybe to access the icon and then here total, as you can see I can't. So yes, if you still want to access variables from other scripts, you have to mandatory create an auto load. So you know, maybe thinking, which is the future plan of Godot? Because yeah, well, we have our version 4.1, but what is the future plan? So if you go to the post of the Godot 4.1, we are gonna see here on to the next release. We already started work on Godot 4.2, which will come out in 4 months. So this means that by October, November, maybe December, we should be having Godot 4.2. That's just for you to consider. Also here in the post, you can see here a more detailed explanation of all the important stuff. For example, here we have things related to the performance. Also we have from core, scripting. Well, about here, all the static variables I've talked, but also you have some other things here that may be useful. About the editor, I talked about the making floating a window. But okay, as you can see, there is a lot of more other stuff. But if I had to make a complete video about all these features, explaining them, the video would be like 20 minutes or something like that, and I'm not really feeling like doing that. And also I believe you will get bored, so that's why I prefer doing a shorter video. And well, that's all for today's video. Enjoy the new version of the engine, subscribe to stay up to date to the latest Godot news, and see you on the next one. Bye bye.